Zant International is very proud once again to present the Remarkable Women Powerful Stories webinar series, and I welcome you to my conversation with Abigail Dogbe, an open source community builder, programs manager, and STEM education advocate from Ghana. I'm Lynn Foley, and I'm truly privileged to speak with the remarkable women who are so generous with their stories and with their time. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and also pay that respect to any First Nations people present. Zontra International, a leading global organisation working together to build a better world for women and girls. So Abigail, a warm welcome to you today to our conversation.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I think it's an honour to be with you today. So as we begin, I wish to give our audience a really short introduction to you. Most of what you've done will be revealed as we have our conversation. So Abigail's an open source community builder, the programs manager and STEM education advocate from Ghana. She loves the power that technology can put in people's hands and wants to help create more awareness through community building. Her belief in open source's potential to drive innovation and positive change encourages her to dedicate time and effort to promote collaboration and sustainability and inclusivity. So you'll hear more about what Abigail is interested in and how she got to be this sort of an open source expert. So Abigail, let's begin your story. I'd like to open today by asking you to talk to me about your origins and maybe your early life in Ghana and who or what really influenced you in your education choices.
Yeah, thank you for that, Lynn. Once again, it's an honor to be here. My name is Abigail Dogbe, and I'm Ghanaian. I'm from Ghana. And yeah, actually my hometown, it's in Central Kofi in Oti region in Ghana. And I'm the last of 7.
Oh, okay. Big family.
Yeah, very, very big family. And yeah, growing up, I had such an interesting childhood, interacting with my siblings and in fact, like my schoolmates growing up. And some of the things that were really significant to me was really trying to carve a path for myself with regards to things that I was interested in doing and actually finding that path in the field of education, which was actually a very difficult one. So there were a lot of people who had an influence in that. I mean, majorly my parents. My dad would encourage me to, study science like in senior high school, and which wasn't something that I personally would have loved to, especially because I loved arts. I love to draw. I love to, paint. I would look for A4 sheets all over and scribble things, do things that I was passionate about in terms of like arts and drawings and all. And I didn't like mathematics. It was kind of difficult
Yes.
for me. I should say that I probably just didn't like it because funny enough, um I had an A in math in junior high school and in senior high school, and which is always an attestation to something that I believe in, that, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. The fact that I didn't like it and from where I was coming from, I needed to pass my grades. Like I needed to get good grades in order to move to like senior high school or even university and all. So I had no option. I really had to study. And yeah, I gradually you know, overcame my fears and really put my mind to it. And my siblings also did really have a high impact when it came to, I mean, trying to carve a path for myself, especially because I was like, I'm the last and they were already there. So, you know, sharing their experiences and then also having conversations with my dad with regards to like what it looks like in school, you know, some of the courses that I could explore and all. So honestly speaking, they really helped. Some of the things that I really wish that I had though were, you know, talking to people in the field, like in the STEM field and all, and then trying to, you know, learn about their journeys, which I believe that it's important for folks who are in primary, high
Mm,
schools and all to actually learn and then also try and then carve like a career path for
mm,
themselves. But
mm.
there's also something that I believe in is that like my parents actually influenced my current mentorship style, like the way that I mentor other people. Growing up, I remember my dad would invite me to do stuff with him, like house chores with him. For example, he would invite me to clean his car with him. And I remember that one time he just was like, you know, he was tired and he wanted me to do it all by myself. And I ended up getting the car all dirty again. And
Mm.
I called out to him and he came around and then we, you know, together did it well. And the car looked like really nice and all. And I mean, after some time, I could really get like all of it by myself. I could do it by myself. And my dad really loved it when I did it for him, even though I had other siblings who could equally do
You've
that.
done it.
Um, so I think growing up, I took some of these lessons and it has shaped how I've also brought other people into things that I'm passionate about, which is open source, and even women in STEM advocacy, like in general. Yeah.
Wow. So it's interesting how your dad was your main influence. But in your siblings, are they a mixture of boys and girls, or in your older sibling?
Yes, I have three
Yeah.
brothers and then three
Uh,
sisters.
yeah, oh, it's all nice and even, and you're the baby, as we would say in my country. You know, you're the youngest. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I know in your world today, you do a lot of mentoring with other women. So we'll be coming to that shortly. Um, I'm wondering, because you were more than encouraged by your dad, in particular your parents, to pick up science or maths as a study pathway in school, then post school, it was really interesting to me about how you then had to choose what you were going to do as an undergraduate, let alone what you're now doing, which in Cincinnati. But as an undergraduate in Ghana, how did you get to the point of becoming so passionate about the field that you're now in? Because you were the artist, you still are an artist, I hear, and quite very talented, who went into a different field and then had to find some passion. Can you talk to us a bit about how that happened?
Yeah, of course. First of all, it wasn't easy. It was very difficult navigating undergraduate studies. I remember I countlessly said that I wanted to read something engineering, but I didn't know what. So
Okay.
I by the way, I attended the University of Mines and Technology, which is based in the western part of Ghana. Um, so yeah, I got into university. I studied my first degree was in computer science and engineering, and I didn't like it. So my story is I feel like this is like really one of the stories that is uncommon in the sense that a lot of the times I've met women or other people who are like, you know, when I was a kid, I really loved playing with computers. I
Mm,
love mathematics. And so reading computer science or engineering wasn't difficult for me. Mine was
mm,
really different. I didn't like either computers or like the sciences or mathematics. So, but I knew that I wanted something engineering, right? So it was quite difficult. And I remember I went through 4 years of undergraduate school, not liking what I got to study, which is computer science and engineering. But I had very wonderful professors, Dr. William Aganjiba, who would, encourage me. He would give me some, coding challenges that would like set me apart from my colleagues in class and all of that. And I mean, people like him were very instrumental in my journey throughout like my undergraduate study. Then after my undergraduate study, like right after it, I got a chance to participate in an open source event, which was Django Girls, which is basically an organization that brings women together and teaches them the Python programming language, and then helps them build like a website using the Django framework. So that was my first encounter to open source. And this like event was an eye-opener. I was like, wow, like this is really interesting. I really want to do this, right? So I mean, I really found my passion in tech or even in computer right after my undergraduate like study, which I find really interesting.
Very interesting that where you were, but you achieved really well in the math, science, and engineering fields. It was like you achieved well, even though you found it something that you didn't love or you weren't in love with. So I guess that happens to a lot of people, doesn't it? That they go and study things, they're very clever, they get high grades, but it's still not their passion. So it was really interesting that you found your passion while still in undergraduate school, because that really helped you, I'm suspecting, take the steps you've taken. So how did finding that then take you into creating some of the projects and organizations that you've been involved in?
Yeah. So, like I shared earlier, after my undergraduate study, I found Django Girls and I really loved what we did. And the people that I met, they were also amazing. And so after my first like encounter, there was this other coach who's called like Andrew Smith. He encouraged me to also be present at the next event like that was coming up. I should say that I didn't really think that I could do it, but I took up the challenge, and then I was the first like woman or like female to be amongst like an all-male group, trying to introduce more women into open source, right? And so I mean, I didn't want to be the only woman in the room. So, in various ways, in diverse ways, of course, with the help of other community members, we started organizing events, and that was primarily bringing like more women together to actually also help them carve their career path as well in technology. And so like from Django Girls, like from my whole first experience mentoring other people, we also started building the Python Ghana community. And, I was invited to lead the Pi Ladies Ghana community, which is a community of women who are interested in the Python programming language. Throughout like the time that I led, we had a lot of events, different events, where we were exploring Python for web development, for data science, for cybersecurity. And not only did we also focus on these technical skills, but we also focused on soft skills, finding job opportunities as well for our participants and our community members in general. And personally, I think that because I didn't really have this kind of support throughout my journey, right? When it comes to like the very technical things, I felt really inspired to do this. Because I felt like, bringing in more women, in fact, even personally was an inspiration for myself. Um, because we started in 2017. Like I mean, my journey started in
Mm,
2017 with open source.
mm,
By 2019, we had seen a lot of growth in our community, in a sense that I started out as being the only mentor, like the only female
yes.
mentor in Django Girls in Ghana. And in 2019, we hosted the first Python conference in Africa. Ghana was privileged to host that. And for
Hmm.
the Django Girls event we had there, all of the coaches or the mentors we had were women, which is
Wow.
actually
Yeah.
like something that I am always proud of, because I mean I didn't only start this journey, and I mean I wasn't selfish about being the only woman.
Mm,
um with the
mm,
help of other people, like a lot of volunteers, we try to also bring in like other women to also take up leadership roles, to also help bring in other women. So
mm,
I mean personally, this like a lot of the inspiration came from my personal journey, and actually wanting to being curious about finding my purpose, right? And I should say that even doing this, even bringing in other women into tech, into open source, actually helped me find my purpose, which is actually
mm,
contributing to open source through
mm,
community building.
mm.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So you're now doing graduate study
Yeah.
in Cincinnati. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you chose the particular master's program you're doing, and then how you found the transition from Ghana to Cincinnati in the USA?
Yeah. So left for my dad, I would have started like grad school right after my undergrad like
Mm,
experience. But it was very important for me to try and find the specific field that I really fit
mm,
in, because I was struggling with all of that. And tech is really broad. There's the data
mm,
science aspect, there's the web part, there's the cybersecurity part,
mm,
and throughout the time where I would contribute to open source, I started really finding purpose in that, like I mentioned earlier. So I realized that, if I were to start grad school and to concentrate on research, I would really want to conduct research in open source, because a lot of the times I'm drawn to it. I'm drawn to like contributing to open source in diverse ways, right? Through like contributing to specific projects whilst also bringing in other people. So I applied to the University of Cincinnati. I got in, and currently in my final year in the Masters in Information Technology program, and I'm conducting research as well in open source. So
mm.
it's one thing led to the other, and it helped me really shape what I wanted to actually pursue in grad
Yes.
school at the University of Cincinnati, which I'm actually very grateful for. Yeah.
Mm. So it's a big transition coming from your home country of Ghana to the middle of the USA in Cincinnati. Well, from my perspective, it's sort of in the middle of the USA, given that I'm based in Australia. So how did you find just that move, the shift? And because you've been there, what, a year or more now. So I just wondered how culturally and weather and everything, what that's been like for you.
Well, it's been interesting. The weather, it's not something I'm used to. In
Mm.
fact, I keep hearing a few people saying, with time you get used to it, but I don't think I'm getting used to it.
Especially the
But
winters, I'm assuming. You've
Yeah,
had a
especially winter.
pretty, I
But I
think from what
actually
I've,
really, yeah, but I actually really feel like I am cold the entire year in the US.
mm,
This is my reason. It's
mhm,
winter and it's cold already, like outside, you have to turn up the heaters inside and all, but
mm,
sometimes it really gets extremely cold and even all the warmers and all
mm,
can't really fully keep you warm. Um,
mhm.
then spring, summer, ACs are up in the room. Oh, like all the ACs are up because people are warm and all. And so I feel like I'm cold the entire year in the US. Because there are different times where you meet the coldness. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot navigating that. And
Mm,
then culturally as well. Um, I would say that Cincinnati is a very nice place. I've really met amazing people here. And even in the University of Cincinnati as well, we have a very supportive Ghanaian community
mm,
here. So moving in here, I would say was easy, was pretty much easy, easier than some stories or experiences that I've heard from
mm,
other people, especially
mm,
because there were friends here, Ghanaians here who were ready to help me settle in. Um, and then just also ready to show me around and all. So
mm,
yeah, it's really
mm,
been amazing. And also, in fact, learning about the foods here and even
mm.
trying to find some Ghanaian food sometimes, like when when I miss home and all. So
Yeah.
it's really been a lot navigating all of that. But I'm very grateful for like the opportunity to be here and to be able to meet like other people who are outside of like where I come from. Yeah.
Mm. And it's interesting. I hear from friends of mine. I know quite a few people who live in Australia and came from South Africa, and it's the food. They often talk about the food differences. And in one of the cities I spent some time, they have a number of shops that specialise in certain food from certain countries. And when we have meals with them, they'll often share with me something that's very much a particular food that would be they like to eat, and it's a little different from ours. So it's always interesting sharing food and the culture through food, isn't it? It's a lovely way to learn about someone else's background, but also to build good friends through food. It's just what we do as humans, isn't it? Um, so, with that in mind about being there and then building those friendships and community and feeling part of it, I know you've been able to do some great work and research in the Avondale community in Cincinnati. Can you share a little bit about what that has been and where you think you've been able to make some good achievements?
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, as part of being a graduate student, I'm also a research assistant affiliated with the Smart Synergies Lab. And I was invited in fall to participate in this research that like it's still ongoing. So in 2022, in collaboration with some other organizations like Uptown Consortium and then the Avondale Development Corporation, we embarked on research that had got to do with digital inclusion within the Avondale community. And some of the results that came out was the need for um, digital skills training. And so we set up on a journey to start introducing more people to the world of digital skills, right? Acquiring digital skills. Um, and this happened in different phases. Phase one, we had like more like study group focused training sessions. So we had sessions for the youth, for the adults, and then for seniors as well. And what happened was we were curious to learn about what digital skills that they needed. And then collaboratively, we all came together to help each other learn about those digital skills. And the results that came from those sessions were 32 digital task flashcards, which are very, very, very useful to our participants, and in fact, folks who help make this whole event like a success. And in phase two, we continued with conducting workshops in privacy and security, in artificial intelligence. And then also we had weekly tech office hours. And of course, I was the lead on that. I was always present at the Avondale library, and anyone could walk up to me and then ask for digital, help with anything that is tech related, and I tried as much as I could to help. Some of the things people needed help with was resetting their passwords, um, you know, acquiring basic computer skills, and personally, it was very fulfilling because these are some of the things that I have been doing back home in Ghana. I didn't think or expect that I was going to find myself in such an environment continuing this work, in Cincinnati. So it's really been very fulfilling. Now, on phase three of this project, we are exploring open sourcing this entire thing, and then looking into developing an application, say a chatbot that will help provide more value in terms of digital skills to the Avondale community. So it's ongoing, and it's very, very fulfilling to me as well. Yeah.
That's fabulous. Let's move on to the other work you're doing, which is incredibly exciting, I think, is your creation of Mesra Nyame and Friends, your Girls in STEM project. I'm really keen to hear about your goals and aspiration for girls and young women in STEM. And the STEM Festival, I heard you speak about that with me when we first met.
Yes. So yeah, I run a nonprofit, Mr. Nyami and Friends, which is basically myself bringing together friends and my network within the STEM field to, make an impact onto the lives of the next generation of women in STEM. Again, this project is also something that I'm passionate about, and I've been, as someone who has been there before, I've come up or used my experiences to actually help shape some of the programs that we organize. And we're also conducting research on what it looks like young girls need to thrive, and then to also even learn more about STEM. In the last years, we've held like technical sessions. We've hosted vision board parties. And then also some general mentorship programs where these young girls who are in primary, junior high, and senior high schools like get to learn about different STEM careers that they could even explore. And yeah, this year we are looking forward to hosting a STEM festival, and I'm excited about it. Um, yeah, it's really exciting to be on this journey, to be able to provide value, and in essence, to be able to give the younger generation something that I really wish that I had growing up.
Yes.
So it's really fulfilling to be doing this as well.
There's a real theme of mentorship, isn't there, in your life so far? And you're still a very young woman, but that theme of mentorship is strong. Being mentored yourself in your early years by your dad in particular, but moving through everything you've done so far, there's that theme of mentorship and the things that you're giving back to other women and girls in your communities. It's remarkable. Now, you have an artistic side and a very strong artistic side and abilities. You work a lot now in the broader STEM space, particularly in just open source. How do you see your artistic side showing through? Do you think it shows through in your work?
Yeah, this is a very great question. I I find myself even going back to picking up a pencil and doing something like drawing something or even painting a picture once a while. And sometimes, I mean, even now, technology really enables us to do, I mean, art, right, in different forms, like by providing us like different tools to be able to, I mean, do that. And I mean, it's if I hadn't gone into red science or something, I really believe I would have been an artist. But I mean, it's still something that I feel that I have within me and I have carried throughout my journey. I think that the creative side of me has helped me come up with these different programs that I try to brainstorm and come up with that is helping us to bring, I mean, more women or even other people into STEM or even into technology. So yeah, the artistic side is actually still there. It is helping me think and become curious as well. And at the end, helping me innovate in where I find myself now. So, yeah.
Fabulous. Speaking of being curious, I'm curious about what, as a young woman of color, living and working in universities and in your community, what your views are on the broad issue of gender equality. Many of my friendship groups and the people I work with, we're really concerned about, it seems to be regressing. We seem to be further away from, the dream of gender parity where, women have equal seats at the table, women are in politics, and all women have a strong voice wherever they are, and women grow their voice. What do you think's got to happen going in the next few years to try and accelerate that progress?
Yeah, this is a great question. I've, you know, shared my story on here, and I believe that Zonta International is actually at the forefront of helping us achieve this goal of, gender equality in these spaces, especially within STEM.
Mm,
Um, One thing that I really believe in is storytelling, which is I'm even grateful to Zonta International for giving me this chance, to
mm,
actually
mm,
share my story. We need more of these things to be able to encourage younger folks, even people who are, already up there,
mm,
we all need the inspiration to keep moving on, to keep bringing in other women into the space. And whilst we are telling these stories as well, we need to keep creating a safe space for more women to be themselves, um, to be able to, also do more, to be able to find where they fit in these different fields. Remember when I was sharing my story, one
mm.
of the things that really stood out for me growing up was um, I can do it if I put my mind to it, right? So
Yes.
that didn't really just, come up. I got like a very safe environment to be able to, help me excel in these different things that I've been doing or I've been up to. And it's actually extremely important for women and even for all of us, right? Um, Another thing that I could really touch on would be to actually engage more men or,
Mm,
allies, I would
absolutely.
say,
Yes.
right? Because
Mm,
a lot of the spaces that we find ourselves might not only be, strictly women, right? We need to collaborate more with our allies and then see how, we can all help bring like more women and then also bridge that gap in gender equality because together we really can achieve this.
mm. And it is together, isn't it? It's not women's work or men's work. It's all of us together in those communities making a difference. As we're getting closer to the end of our conversation, what's your greatest gift? as a leader and as a woman in your community? What's your greatest gift, do you think?
This is a lot. I would put my creativity first. I would say it's something that I'm grateful for having, because as someone who is an open source programs manager, it is important that you know the people you are leading, the people you are creating programs for. It's important to know where they lack, what they need, and even coming up with what the programs look like. It's important to build on the tools that would actually help them achieve their purpose or their aim for being a part of your community. And I believe that if I reflect on my journey and things I have done, I'll put creativity at the top. And then I would also talk about empowerment. It's it's really been an important and a very good skill that I have or I possess. And I love the fact that I'm able to actually create that ripple effect, where I'm able to also use my experiences to also shape other things, or I mean, other women who are also looking into being or coming into like STEM. I think another thing that I would like to touch on is courage. Um, Growing up as well, I think I grew up like very timid. I And even after my undergraduate study, I found myself being at the background of events or even
Mm.
things that I'm passionate about. And it takes a lot of effort to actually want to or try to put yourself out there, and even things that you're passionate about like out there. And it's something that I think that I'm really building on. And in fact, since 2022, I've really been intentional about that. And I'm seeing the positive effect of having the courage to actually even tell my story, the courage
Mm.
to actually even speak to more women and even other people. And then bringing them into like the world of STEM and not being selfish, and
Yes.
actually even bringing them into things that I'm passionate about, to also give back to the upcoming
Mm.
generation. Yeah.
So it sounds like that's what you rely on when you run into challenges, is that courage and just working at, I would call it finding your voice,
Yeah.
finding your voice and making sure you can be heard. And that's how you meet some of your challenges, it would seem to me. And as we move to close the conversation, in 2023, you were a recipient of the Zant International Women in STEM Scholarship. And I know it's not long since you actually received the financial benefit of that. How is this going to assist you with your current study?
Yeah. So first of all, I'd love to thank Dr. Monica Jones. I think she's a part of the team at the Zonta Accra Zone 2. I'm thankful for her. And I mean, I made it here, right? And
Mm.
she was very helpful and patient in answering my questions and my concerns.
Mm.
So I'm really thankful for her. And another thing that I'm experiencing, I mean, about the fact that I was recognized last year as one of the recipients, is I have gotten to actually learn about other women and the work that they are doing in STEM. I think Zonta International has provided that platform um, by, throwing spotlights onto these other women. And so
Mm.
it's personally very inspiring. And
Mm.
I know it's going to go a long way in helping me in my career and even in other things that I'm interested in, because I'm definitely going to be reaching out to some of them and then involving them in my work. And I should say that the financial benefits that I gained has really been helpful in terms of providing books and supplies, and then some very great electronics or even technological gadgets that I currently need in my journey as a graduate student at the University of Cincinnati. So yes, I'm very grateful for the opportunity and then the chance to actually enjoy such benefits.
And that's fabulous, because that's the intention of the scholarships that are provided locally and then internationally. So being able to have the local scholarship from the Zonta Club and now the international recognition, but also that financial boost is very helpful, I know, to where you are working in community and in your own study. So as we close the conversation, what's an idea or a thought you'd like to leave with everyone watching today?
Just a few words. Anything that you want to do, if you put your mind to it, you can achieve it. It's important to share if you are stuck, if you feel stuck. It's important to reach out if you want to learn more about a particular field that you're interested in. There are a lot of tools that you can leverage on. There's LinkedIn that helps us connect with people globally. And it's important that we are learning and leveraging on technology to improve our lives in all the different ways that we can. And yeah, whilst you're on that journey, if you're able to find your North Star, try and then also bring other people into it. I believe that it will make the world a better place. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Abigail, for your generosity of your time today and this amazing conversation with me in your areas of STEM and your life, and sharing your story. So I encourage you to keep sharing your story, because it is stories that make a different world for us. So Zonta International thanks you and considers you as our friend.
Yeah, I'm really grateful and honored. Thank you so much. And Lynn, thank you for also being an awesome host. It's been a pleasure learning about you as well, and even getting to be on the same platform with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.